ill-fitting time urgency on it, we make crazy mistakes and our energy is the wrong energy. Like, this is what shows are made of, like they have Master Chef, and these guys are super talented, but they give you this time urgency and stuff is falling off the counter on the floor. Like, that would never happen with them, right? So it's like, if we don't right size our project and we create this crazy time urgency for us, we just can't perform, especially if we're learning on the way. And so I really, especially since we're talking in January, I really like to take my clients through an exercise where they reflect on, this year I picked the number 23, but like the 23 best moments of last year. And like, just go through your phone and pick pick a highlight reel of like 23 pictures. And usually people will come up with 50, 75 moments, or they can go through a day timer, or they can go through a journal, and then they cull it down to their top 23. And it's like, okay, so what is it about those that you're making it a highlight? And usually it's they fulfilled a promise to themselves, like, oh, I always promised myself I was going to get a dog, or I always promised myself I was going to clean up that closet, or I always promised myself I was going to lose that 5 pounds. And so when you look back at that former self and you think, you did it. But if you knew that you were just going to do it, and it didn't matter if it took 3 months or 3 weeks or 3 years, you still have that satisfaction. And people are like, yeah, like, I'm just so glad I did it. Like, this is something I really did for myself. And so if we take that sensation, we bring it to the present and we look forward, it's like, okay, I promised myself I'm going to reach that 10K a month.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make myself wrong for getting to 2.5. Like, if I get to 2,500, it's like, I'm celebrating because it's on the way. I'm not wrong because it's not 10.
Yeah.
And then that 2550, it's like, I'm working in the right direction. It's like 2575. It's like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And you celebrate every step of the way, because the only way you can get to 10 is you have to pass through 5. You have to pass through 2575. Like, and the dopamine that's released in our brains from the celebration of every single little step is actually a motivation hormone.
Yeah. I like the way that you put that, like celebrating it, right? Because sometimes we're so focused on the end result and we don't even think about, like, okay, I'm at, like, my goal is to get to 1,000 or whatever it may be. I'm just using money as an example here, right? Just to be congruent with what you just talked about. But I just made $2.
Yeah.
And I'll see this sometimes in the group, and not to call out on anyone, but I do want to bring it to you guys' awareness, where they're like, okay, well, these are my results for the month. It's not what I was expecting, or it's only, and I'm like, oh my God, like, celebrate like the $2, like run around the freaking house. I want the people in your house to think that you're nuts. And so, like, you're celebrating $3.75 made from your Kindle business, woohoo, or whatever it might be. But because that's how you get to the level where you want to ultimately get to. Like, I call it appreciating, right? So appreciating the fact that your baby is crawling. Yeah, you want them to, or even appreciating, we'll use a different example. I'll use a little bit more of a gross example. One that's a little bit more vivid, right? I want to wake everyone up.
Oh, no.
You want your baby, you're trying to potty train your freaking baby, but they're missing the toilet. Celebrate the fact that, okay, they're heading into the bathroom. Celebrate the fact that they're stepping on a step stool. Celebrate the fact that they're pulling down their whatever they're pulling down, right? Boy or girl. Because now the journey is in the celebration, so they're getting there. And then I think the other part, the add-on, is to celebrate what is to come too.
I love this. Because, and I love that you brought up Outwitting the Devil, because I've had the good fortune to be trained by someone who's 2 degrees separation from Napoleon Hill.
Oh, wow.
So I guess I'm 3 degrees. Can I tell you a story?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Napoleon trained Joseph. Joseph trained Alan, and Alan trained me. And Alan was living in Hawaii, island in the middle of the Pacific. And he had this dream of having a Lincoln Continental. And like in Hawaii, you have to ship a car. So basically you have to order it, pay for it, arrange the shipping, and then you get your car. It's not just like, kind of random. But at the time, he had this beater car. It had how the roof has these gutters, so the rain flows down to the front and the back. These were rusted out. And so the rain was coming into the car. There was mold growing on the carpet, on the floorboards. There was rust on the sides, everything. And
sounds like one of my first cars.
Yeah, right. And so Joseph said, if you want this Lincoln Continental, you start filling your beater car with premium gasoline. You start washing it and waxing it by hand once a week.
Yep.
And Alan was doing it. He was like, okay, if this is what you say. And, he got seriously questioned at the gas station. You're filling this with premium gasoline? It's like, you're waxing this? It's like, okay, the roof doesn't even work. But what he was doing was he was living as if he already embodied it. He already had it. And then he pulled in this opportunity toward him because it just solidified his belief. It's like, okay, this is, I'm using my imagination. This is my white Lincoln Continental. I'm going to spend extra time on the bumpers. And I just saw the comment, fake it till you make it. I think I love that, but it's even more than that. It's the belief to the point of absolute expectation. It's just a matter of timing. Like, this is non-negotiable. It's happening. And so when he did get his Lincoln Continental, he already had the budget to be buying premium gasoline. He already had set aside the time every week to wash it and wax it by hand. And then he pulled in a second one, and he was kind of already embarrassed because he was like, okay, let's get the exact same color and the exact same make and model for my wife's Lincoln Continental, so that I don't look like I'm like too big for my britches on the island, and people who see us just think we're driving the same one. But like, not only did he pull one in, he pulled a second one in really quickly. So this is what I hear you saying about, celebrate the $2, celebrate that you press go live, before you have a sale, celebrate that you finished your editing with your ghostwriter, celebrate that you found the ghostwriter. It's like every step of the way.
So it's what go ahead, Caroline.
I was going to say, it's what Neville Goddard talks about when he talks about living in the end. And this is the missing piece for so many people, because and it used to be for me, and it's a bit of a misconception around the fake it till you make it, like you were saying, Linda. It's not sort of about pretending, but you really inside don't believe it. It's sort of like, this is done. It's done. It's already there. It's not in my physical reality yet, but it's already there. It's inevitable. It's a matter of time. Doesn't matter how long, could be tomorrow, could be next month, and then you're living as if, and then you know, one of the things that he talks about as well, and I do this a lot, is then you can role play that throughout your day.
Yes.
In your home, you know, if you want to, I don't know, as an example, if you want your wardrobe to be full of Versace, which some people do, wonder who, then you make space in your, you know, you make space in your wardrobe for your, you know, they say if you want someone to be in your bed, then, you know, like you pretend that they're in your bed at night, that sort of thing, and make the space, leave the space there in your bed. And this stuff works, but it is about, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, but it is about living as if you've already got it inside. And then the piece that is the work, trying to use the right words here, is then just not appreciating everything you've got, but not noticing it's not there yet.
Not noticing that it's not there. Super powerful.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But it is, because it's inside. So it's an inside job. This is why journaling is so important. I love that exercise that you said about the 23 achievements, because an exercise where you can then go back. I went back, I journal a lot, and I went back to a goal I set 3 years ago, expecting it to happen in a year. And it's sort of, but when now I go and look at it now, I don't care that it was 3 years ago. It really doesn't matter now. Yeah. And then and then I looked, I thought, oh my gosh, I've exceeded that. It was like weight, my ideal weight, that happened. But I actually didn't really try. I just changed some habits, you know, exercise habits and eating habits, and just started to think myself, I mean, I've always been quite slim, but I'm small. So think myself slim. And the same with business. And so it was all these things that I wanted. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's all happened and more, but it didn't work in that time scale. And at the time, I remember I sort of gave up. I didn't care anymore. I've been wanting this stuff for a while. And the moment I gave up and didn't put a time scale on it, it just happened really quickly. So it's just like magic, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminds me of, you know, two things that I read every day, reminders to myself. So Caroline, you said not noticing that it's not there yet, right? That could be huge. It could sabotage your results. So two things that I read every single day and multiple times sometimes. Number one is you're always manifesting. So I have a sticky note that's here on my computer. Yes. You're always manifesting. All right. And then the second thing is make sure that you are no longer thinking about your desire, but from your desire, because you already have it. So making sure that, and these are notes to myself, making sure that you're no longer thinking about your desire, but from your desire, because you already have it. Right. So, and that's for putting yourself, you've got this beat up Lincoln and you want the Rolls Royce or whatever it may be, treating the Lincoln as if you had the Rolls Royce. When I first got my very first Jaguar, before that I forget what the car was. So I had sticky notes that I had right in the center of the steering wheel of my older car. And I said, this is my such and such. I had the year and everything. I had to make the model Jaguar. You were driving. So I would grab the steering wheel as if I was driving a Jaguar. I would put myself in that position as if I'm parking a Jaguar, as if I'm already driving my dream car, right? So coming from a position as if you already have it versus when I'll get it. And the other thing is the cigar box. I don't know if you guys ever heard me talk about the cigar box, right? But it's so important to have the cigar box, or whatever your equivalent of a cigar box is. It's all of the things that you've been able to accomplish, everything from graduating high school to getting your college degree, right? And having these memories, these are your 23 best moments here. Right? They may be lifelong moments. So when you get into that position of doubt, you can now go back into your cigar box and you can look at all of these things. Oh my God, I had the power to do that. Oh my God, I did this. I did that. Right? So these are your 20. I love the fact that you just mentioned that the 23 moments, you go back, you look in your pictures, you look in your memories, and you say, okay, these are the amazing things that I did this past year. Right? And we have all of these things that we've done over our entire lives that we've kind of forgotten about because we're so focused on be moment and the future.
And that helps us set, I love this cigar box because it helps us set the intention moving forward.
Yeah.
And if I may circle back to the whole idea behind yin and yang, everything is energy. And that might be hard for some people to grasp, but I'm going to tell you a story. So it might sound a little woo-woo, but it's not completely abstract because I actually have a science degree. So I'll explain it from the science standpoint. If we take your body and we reduce it down to cells and reduce it down to atoms and like molecules, atoms, protons, neutrons. And if you think that the smallest particle that we can appreciate is an atom is actually 99% energy and only 1% matter.
Yeah.
And we are pushing on the matter. It's like, okay, I'm going to do all these things. And in the yin and yang, like, you know, the emblem that has like, it looks like two fish that are nestled into each other and one's black, one's white, and kind of think of it as an Asian. We're looking for balance. So there's the doing and there's the being. There are the structures and systems, but there's also the allowing and the creativity.
Yeah.
There's the action, but then there's the receiving. And so if we're always doing, and we're getting toward these goals, it's almost like we don't enjoy it when we get it because we've already moved the finish line to the next thing.
Yeah.
And so the leaning back, that we can almost say it's a feminine energy and a masculine energy. They have their place for all of us, like for all men, women, children. Like that's what brings a balance and a peace of mind. Because everything that we want for the future, everything that we desire is uniquely for us. Like if you desire a Jaguar, that might not be for me. Like I might not, so there are there's enough Jaguars to go around because not everybody wants one. Right?
And if there's not, trust me, they'll make more, right? They'll make enough to satisfy the demand. Right?
So you tune in your radio receiver, like I'm using a dial because I'm of that age. Like you tune into the Jaguar radio waves, and I'm not stopping at that station. Like I'm going to something else. And so we each have a way to tune into what's already existing when we have an energy match to it.
Yeah. I think the importance is also understanding, you kind of talked about this, it's not just the doing, the effort, right? It's just not always that. Sometimes you have to just sit back and you think about what it is that you ultimately want, or even taking it further, what you ultimately have already, because it's already in place, right? But it's just actually having it in your presence, which that's a whole nother conversation, because almost everything that we want is already in our presence. It's a matter of that matter forming into this physical thing. That's an entirely different conversation.
Absolutely.
Right? Even now, there's scientists that just last year received the Nobel Peace Prize because they realized that everything is not like what we physically see may not necessarily be there until we're putting the attention on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's 3 scientists just received, and that's a conversation that might just be for a few of us, because then you guys are going to think I'm totally nuts if I go into that too far deep. Right? So hey, Ty, the bookshelf that you're looking at here, you mean to tell me that it's not there unless you're paying attention to it? Right? So all of this stuff, I was talking to Des, who is actually on here now. We were talking about how hard work alone just doesn't do it. And I gave her an example of, so we have house cleaners that come by every 2 weeks, they'll clean the house, and there's 4 of them, right? One of them is the owner, and they work extremely hard, 4 hours, 5 hours, in relation to what they charge, right? And I was sharing with her that my dad worked really hard, right? He would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning as a construction worker, and then he worked a job as a security guard, and then he worked a job as a taxi driver. His understanding of getting and manifesting was hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work. That's it.
Yeah.
And he missed the other side. You talked about the black and white of the end. So he had the black side 100% down pat. It was the other side that he didn't even have a level of awareness on, right? So if you don't have the level of awareness, there's no way that you can totally practice it. And now what's happening is Napoleon Hill's conversation that he talks about in Outwitting the Devil, where we're just totally drifting through, that's what takes place. And we start to get so frustrated because we're like, man, I'm putting in the work. How many people can relate with this? I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing everything that the course says, the program says. I'm doing everything that society says, but I'm not getting anywhere. It's the missing component there. How many people, let's be honest with ourselves, right? Because for me, that was me for a long time. And I'll still slip into that every once in a while. This is something that you don't do. Just Zig Ziglar says, listen, you wouldn't just take a shower one time and think that you're clean for the rest of your life.
Daily work. And you know, there's a disconnect with this in terms of the way that we interpret it, because you've made an amazing point, Linda, that you can get, you know, you take all this action. Yeah, inspired action is part of, you know, you're in alignment, the energy's all lined up, you know what you want, you're doing your practices, your spiritual practices, and then you take the action. And of course, it doesn't feel like hard work, it's just fun. But then you can get to a point, and I think sometimes the more successful you get, the more you achieve. Like you say, you go straight on to the next goal. And then you can often then get to a point where the action gets out of hand. This is what happened with me. And then I was like, okay, if you want different results, you've got to do things differently, do different things. That's, you know, that's a great piece, but it doesn't necessarily mean action. And so I was sort of going through my business. How can I double up? How can I do this? Da, da, da. And it was all very action centered. And oh, this needs to be better on the marketing. Do that. Hire that person. Fire that person. So I've been doing all of that. And then I thought last night I had this realization that I've sort of moved away from what I know. That actually the work now is the energy work. The action's all in place. It's about me sometimes feeling throughout the day, moving away from the stress that is inside sometimes in the day, you know, children, I'm the financial provider, what if, you know, there's a lot of that still going on. And that's just the missing piece. Because when I reflect back, you know, when you reflect back in life to the things that the most important things to you, which is why the 23 things is a great exercise. I look back and I thought, okay, the publishing deal that I've just got came from very little action.
Yes. Okay.
It was just a request.
Huge, yeah. Very little action, right?
Very little action. There's inspired action now. The movie side of things, the person that I'm working with being best friends with A-list actors, how could I have ever got close to that? Came from the energy work.
Yeah.
Very little action. It was just an email, and then, you know, inspired action from that, but really easy. And the other stuff, the really busy stuff, doesn't produce that sort of leverage, you know. So it's leveraging the energy, isn't it? Sorry, I know you want to say.
Yeah.
No, that was a great add-on. Yeah.
This is exciting. May I play with something you've just said, Caroline? Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the body for a second. Like, we have a nervous system that's like the king of everything, commands everything. And it has two branches. There's the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, which is all the automatic stuff. And when you think about the automatic stuff, it has two branches. It's like the gas and the brake. Like our heart rate has to go up, our heart rate goes down. Digestion turns on, digestion turns off. Blood pressure goes up, blood pressure goes down. And so the stuff that gets really ramped up is like our fight or flight branch. And the other is the calm and relax. We can only create from this branch. From this branch, we can only recreate. So when you say the stress, if we're living here, we're in that yang energy. We're in that masculine energy. Here, we're in that feminine energy. And so if we're here, we're like, okay, I checked off the list. I'm going to go live. I'm going to press the button. And, whatever thought you have when you press the button, it's like, oh, it's my first one. It probably won't even work. Or, oh, it's my first publishing. It's going to take forever, and then you press the button and then you're in that energy that absolutely manifests. The first one doesn't work. The first one takes a long time, whatever you think about. But if you
it's the speaker that I was talking about on a challenge, right? Him being nervous and spiraling into that more instead of being aware and being able to pull himself out. Yeah.
But if you think about, oh, how would I like to calm my nervous system and make this fun? And like, I'm doing this for my family, for generational wealth. Like, why not have a little party and have one of my kids press the button that says go live, and that energy is like, I can't wait to see what happens from this.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's when you calm your nervous system and you don't have it mean something, because Caroline, you sent that, like, I don't know the backstory, but you sent this email just because it was an inspired action. You didn't have it mean anything. You were just like, oh, I'm going to lean back. I'm going to press this email. And then it's like the universe says, oh, Caroline didn't have a story or any rules about how this was going to show up. So I'm just going to let it show up through the side door.
So easily.
Opposed to, oh, I'm going to get $10,000, but it can only come through Kindle publishing. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I could send you a check.
No, we say word fuck on here. You could say it. Go ahead, say it a few more times. Fuck.
It's a little.
Somebody's got to get me. As always, they always get me whenever I say, Ty, there's kids in the room.
Do this is so good. This is amazing, Linda. You, as are you. Because the masculine, feminine energy, you've got to look at your default and your habits as well. And I come from corporate law, and I actually work a lot in the masculine energy. In fact, I'm more like a man than a woman when I'm in my business. And it's about tapping into that.
We're socialized for that. We're told we're supposed to, like when I first started working, I was wearing shoulder pads in a suit, like this was the 80s. So
and heels.
Torturous. Or my husband and I would get ready for speaking engagements, and he would be getting his slide deck together and organizing his bag and going up to the car, and I'd be putting on makeup for 30 minutes. I'm like, this is screwed, So
absolutely.
Think about the message that sends to you right now, not being comfortable in your space. And a lot of us think, so I want to kind of go back to something that you said, and that is being in the energy. That's why it's so important to work when you're coming from a place of inspirement, like you're being inspired, right? I think it was Bob who was on here the other day. Bob, we were talking about, we were both up at 3:30. Mine was just racing. We were up at 3:30 in the morning, and I just had these ideas, and I'm like, maybe I should just go back to freaking sleep, because I had just woken up. I went to use the bathroom actually, and I had just all of these ideas, and I'm like, I should just go back to sleep. And I said, no, I'm just go in. I'm gonna get my notepad. I'm gonna get my pen. because these are inspired ideas that just came to me. I don't get ideas like that all the time at 3:30 in the morning. There's a reason why they came to me. Let me go in and write them down so that I don't forget them. And some of my best work, and if you guys think about it, some of your best things, Caroline, Linda, some of the best moments in your life probably came from acting, right, out of those moments of inspiration, whatever it may have been.
Your brain is in alpha brainwave at that stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So think about it. I mean, and then they say Michael Jackson, whether you loved him or hated him, right? One of his one of the planet's best-selling albums, Thriller, was written and came to him in his dreams. So he realized the power of acting on inspiration so much that he would keep a notepad and a pen on his nightstand. So that when he got these lyrics, he's not just relying on memory, he would go in and write them down. And out of that, you saw what came out of that. So
yeah, genius.
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks says that those in alignment that take inspired action from the energy, that the right energy is equivalent to 1 hour is equivalent to 2,000 hours of action.
Yeah.
Which is why you often see so many successful people who look like they've got it going on. Often you think, oh my goodness, they must be working 20 hours a day. And it's often the opposite. Now, there's a bit of that's what I was going to say before, and then I went off on a different track, but there's a bit of a disconnect in the industry. And I was talking to Carrie Boss about this the other day when we were doing it was a few months ago, we were doing some mentoring. And we were saying that there's this side, which is the power side, as I call it. And then there's the other side where lots of entrepreneurs talk about, huge sacrifices for success and doing, and that's why I'm always careful when I say it is the lots of action and focus, but it's inspired. It doesn't feel like hard work, and it's not crazy 20 hours a day or 12 hours a day to build your business. So it's the difference between just not worrying too much about what all the other entrepreneurs online are saying about you have to give up your exercise for a year. I remember somebody to get to 20,000 a month, I just stopped exercising for a year and just worked 17 hours a day. And then you think, maybe that's what I should be doing then. Maybe, it's so there's this out there, isn't there? There's sort of the two sides.
Well,
it's the balance.
Different schools of thought, because if you look at getting back to the nervous system, if you look back to calming the nervous system and being in that branch where you can create, that's why one of the most common, like two very common practices, three of very high achieving CEOs is they read, they exercise, and they meditate. So the meditation brings them into the nervous system calming. And meditating is not for everyone, but there are ways to use your breath to bring you more into this branch of the nervous system. And when we do that and really experience some stillness, there's actually a gland in your brain that will connect us with the collective consciousness. This is how I had meditation described to me. If you think about the ocean and you take like a cross section, like, cut it, and you think on the top layer, it's like waves and boats and children and like buoys and like beach toys and floaties, and it's busy. And then you go a little deeper and it's quiet, it's colder, it's a little dark. And then you go down even deeper, and there are parts down there, that sea life has never seen the sun, but this is where all the ocean floors are connected.
Yeah.
And that's like a cross section of the mind. We're busy, and then we calm. And then here's the collective where you can tap into all of the answers, all of the creativity, and it's instant. Like we can train our brains to go into these different brain waves and get access to creativity, to calm, to possibility, to heal. Like there's absolute spontaneous healing that can happen. This is not totally woo. It's like when I was in university, I did some work with ergonomics, and we were working with these truck drivers, and we thought, oh, they have eye strain, they have gut issues, and they have low back pain. And people thought, oh, well, they eat trucker food, they stare at the road too long, and they sit too long. And it's like, okay, well, we can improve these things. And then I went and I was in Asia, and we went up to a monastery, and there were healings going on. And depending on what tissue had a different ailment, they would choose a different chant because it had a vibrational frequency that matched that tissue. And then we went back and we looked at the truck drivers, and we saw that the vibration of the steering wheel,
oh my gosh, matched
the tissue of the eyes. The sit bones on the seat had a vibration that matched with the gut, and the vibration of the floorboards for the feet matched the vibration of the low back tissue.
No coincidences at all.
Yeah. And so when those were resolved, their physical issues were resolved, but vibrational frequency is energy. And so it doesn't matter if you do it through sound or if you do it through like your hard goods, or like it can be healing, whether you do it through your brain waves.
It could be totally healing.
Which is Joe Dispenza's work, isn't it? To a T, as well as many other incredible people. That's really interesting. So I've had a neck problem for about a year, and it's posture related, hence the stand-up desk now and just being more careful. And I've been going to the chiro for on and off for about a year, and then I had some reflexology and the massage, because I thought, I'm going to do what Ty can do. I can do it. I'm going to book in 2 massages a month. And honestly, and the massage therapist and reflexologist all in one, she was talking to me about energy. She said, it's got to go, you work hard, you've got a lot going on, it's got to go somewhere. And I said, yeah, but I meditate, and I know what I'm doing, I know about energy. And she said, yeah, but it's like in your neck, let's just get that out. And so it was a mixture of, and this one session, since then my whole body feels differently. And I've never prioritized anything like that before. It would be, if you've got a problem, I'll go to the chiro, that cracks me around, and then a week later I need it again. So this was like root cause stuff, and it was amazing. And she said there was a particular part of my foot, and she said, this is we're going to just let that go now. And we just let it go. Just amazing.
You can release it. You can release it through theta healing. You can release it through trauma release. But all of our emotions, our past experiences, are held in our fascia. And our fascia is our connective tissue web. So
I'm reading this at the moment. I think I shared this. I just realized I forgot to put these books in the group, so I'll do that. But it's the You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah, it's great. And he's got great meditations. I mean, you can get this in audio book format, but I want a book that I can read when I'm sort of traveling and things. So it's a big book. So I'm only just starting it, and I know his work really well, but same sort of thing, just a different approach. There are so many people that talk about this. There's so much content out there that we can tap into, isn't there? And it's, you master that and life's never the same again. And it also makes you feel less fearful, doesn't it, knowing that you've got the power inside?
Well, it's like Ty was saying at the beginning, like if we're going to wrap it up in a bow beautifully, you're less dangerous to yourself and others, because the mindset matters. It affects everything. It affects our stress levels. It affects how much clarity we have access to. Yeah, this has been a fulsome conversation. I appreciate
it's been incredible. Yeah. I can't believe that it's top of the hour already. We definitely have to get you back, Linda, for part 2 and part 3. How many people would like
part 4 and 5?
And part 4 and 5 as well. If you want to see her back. Would you come
back, Linda? Would you come back?
It would be my pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah. The time just went by too fast. So, I mean, we need like a 5-hour segment with you. Because would you guys agree, like this went by really quickly? Like we jumped into it, and I tried to keep like the initial monologue at the very beginning as short as possible so that we can get into it, because I knew that this is where we were going to go. You know, I got a good friend of mine, who's actually on here, Edmund Lee, and he's all about wealth creation and legacy planning for your family and for the things that matter to you, so that you still have going on well after you've gone, right? He's going to be a guest of this show a couple of weeks from now, but he said something, him and I were talking yesterday, and it's totally in alignment with this conversation. He says, you know, we have business plans, we have mission plans, we've got vision statements for our business, but we don't have any of this stuff for our lives. Like, we don't have a business plan for our life. We don't have a mission statement for our life. We don't have like this vision statement for our life.
I want to cry when you say that.
Like how? And I told him, I said, man, we talked for about an hour yesterday. Yesterday was just a chatty patty. I was talking with everyone yesterday, right? So between Daz and him and then my team. But I said, this is so powerful that I have to share it with as many people as possible, especially entrepreneurs, because they'll get it. And now the beautiful thing about this, with the work of people like yourself and Joe Dispenza and lots of other people, there's more entrepreneurs now who realize and are realizing that it's not just the busy work, as Caroline said. It's what else that goes into this, right? So this has been a blessing. This has been beautiful having you on. Let's continue the conversation. And
Definitely.
I can't.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you.
Oh, that's a pleasure. I've shared Linda's contact details, and I think I might have not linked it properly. There's a dot in Linktree. There isn't in my Linktree, so I'm not sure if that's right or not. But is that correct there? I don't know if you can.
Canada.
If people just fabulous, yeah, of course. If people copy and paste that in their browser, will that open up all of your amazing work?
Yes, I'm also on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. And of course in our community. So Zura, you do nutrition coaching as well, theta healing. Okay. And
we have a concierge service for people in their self-leadership, whether they want to apply it to fitness, business, family, relationships. Yes.
It's all the whole piece. Just going down your list in terms of your business coaching, women's health coaching. Theta's amazing. Theta healing, I've had theta healing, absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to take a look at your work there. But yeah, so feel free to contact Linda and connect with her and her team.
Linda, what's the best way for people to contact you? Is it Facebook or is it
Facebook is really great. Facebook Messenger is super easy.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, if you go on Facebook, my Linktree, we'll connect.
I was going to say, on Linda's Facebook, it's got all her Linktree everything. I love Linktree. Everything's listed there, and there's literally a suite of services and skills and talent.
Yes, we have product and service offerings. Yeah, we have
amazing
meditation headbands to give you feedback about how it's going. Yeah, it's
nice.
Really cool.
Lovely. I'll be taking a look.
Very cool. And the one thing that you could do to make your Linktree even better, this is something that I did when I first got it a couple of years ago, is go in and redirect. Like mine, if you guys go to tycohen.com/social, you'll see my Linktree and it has just everything there. So just go get your domain name and then use like a /contact or something so that people, they don't have to go to like the linktree.linda and then your name and everything else, because sometimes it can throw people off. I had found that when I initially started using it. But if you make it as simple as possible, man, people just love it. But this has been incredible. This has been fantastic. This has been beautiful. Guys, this is the power of what we have in our community. Like you guys just don't get access to coaching. You don't just get access to a program. You get access to resources that go so far beyond what it is that we teach with anything that we could ever teach in any of our programs. This is the stuff that is probably, and I know you guys get tired of hearing us say this, but this is more important than any of the mechanical, structural stuff that we could share with you. Because that stuff is just, hey, do this. Not that you don't need it, but it's do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And you can do all of that. But if you don't have the true belief as to what the result is going to be, you've already failed in your head.
You can have the best programs in the world. You need the programs, you need the process, of course. Don't try and do it without, unless you've got another program. You need the actions. That's all just obvious.
Yep.
The piece that separates the people from getting things working out and not, and we've probably all experienced this, and I have in my own life, is inside.
That's why we bring this stuff to you guys so much. So please go into the Facebook group. We're going to close out. Let us know what your biggest takeaway has been from this. And as always, go in and tag Linda so that she sees everything, right? So please do that right now while it's top of mind. Before you guys forget,
please
go into the Facebook group and just give us one big takeaway. The intention for this is to get 50 people going into the group. That's our target. That's our goal. And everyone needs to participate in it. 50 people talking about what's their biggest takeaway from today. It could be a one-liner. You can write an entire paragraph. Some of you guys are writers, so I know that you can like really go in. But one takeaway from today, and we'll see you on Friday. Friday's going to be another fantastic call. And then next Wednesday, we have 2 incredible guests. And then Wednesday after that, we have another incredible guest where we're going to talk about wealth planning and legacy planning and everything else that comes along with that. So guys, thank you. Caroline, thank you for being an amazing co-host. Linda, thank you for being an incredible guest. And everything. Thanks, everyone that's watching, thank you guys for being part of a 3%. This is 3% action right here. Go in and talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your relatives. They don't get this. That's because they're not part of the 3%. We'll see.
And please do that post in there, because it will get more people in, because so many people are missing out on this. Tracy said just before we go, one of the best MMMs ever. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda. That was phenomenal.
And I forgot, go register for the Digital Wealth Creation Challenge that Caroline and I are having next week starting Monday. So go in, register for the Digital Wealth Creation Challenge. It's at tycohen.com/DWCC. I just posted the link in the chat box. You can register for free, and we will see you. Barbara says, I can't wait until Monday. Dr. Tiny says, I'm already registered. All right, very cool. Who's registered here already? Put it into the chat box if you've registered. Michelle,
and we've got a Facebook group, so pop over there. I'm trying to invite people in there, but I can't always get to everyone. So yeah, pop in there and join us in there. We'll start ramping it up.
Aaron
back
is
end of the week in there.
Yeah, we definitely. You've been amazing with the Facebook group, Caroline. I meant to tell you that yesterday.
I'm just going to do a bit more posting. I've been head down in books this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Tiny, once you register, check your confirmation emails. You'll have a link to the Facebook group, right? Or you could just go to Facebook and you could type in Digital Wealth Creation Challenge. All right. So Digital Wealth Creation Challenge and just search under groups and you'll see it. All right, guys.
Yes, and it's new. Brian Keller's asking, is it a new digital wealth? Yeah, it's not recorded, it's live, it's new content.
New content, totally.
Yeah, for everyone.
Absolutely, guys. All right, we'll see you. Have a great day. Have a great morning.
Have a great
night, and be great.
Take care.
If you're on YouTube, post in the comments what's been your biggest takeaway. If you're watching from YouTube or if you're watching the replay of this or after the fact, you're not getting away. Post in the comments what's been your takeaway. Because Linda's I'm going to share those comments with Linda and she'll see them.